The O'Reilly Family, the #1 cable news show for 12 years running.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Factor Follow-Up segment tonight. Should people of faith be told by their clergy who to vote for in the presidential election? I put that question to Timothy Cardinal Dolan last night in the context of the Obama administration forcing Catholic entities to offer contraception in their insurance programs. Would you say to American Catholics, don't vote for President Obama based upon this intrusion? Would you say that?
I wouldn't say that. I would never myself say don't vote against or don't vote for a particular candidate. Even very faithful Catholics, Bill, don't like their bishops or priests telling them how to vote.
Joining us now from Dallas, Pastor Robert Jeffress, author of the book Twilight's Last Gleaming, How America's Last Days Can Be Your Best Days. And here in the studio, Father Edward Beck, Roman Catholic priest, who's also the faith and religion contributor for the CBS This Morning program on Sunday. Okay, we're going to start with you, Dr. Jeffress. You got the separation of church and state, so you can't go up into the pulpit when you're preaching on Sunday and tell your congregation who to vote for. You're going to lose your tax-exempt status. But as a private citizen, you can absolutely write an article, or you can, go out with a bullhorn and run around Dallas telling everybody what you want and what you don't want and what you think should happen. But is it morally advisable for you to do the latter?
Well, I think it is, Bill. I think secularists have done a great job of brainwashing Americans and even Christians into thinking that pastors and churches should have no involvement in politics. That is ludicrous. I mean, it was because Martin Luther King Jr. got involved in politics that we had a civil rights movement. Without pastors leading the way, there wouldn't have been an abolition of slavery. If pastors are not at the forefront of leading for moral change in this country, who's going to be? Okay,
now I have some friends who've heard you preach in the church, and they say you get real close, Pastor, real close. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that you want your congregation, according to my people reporting back to me, to vote against Barack Obama. Is that true?
Well, let me tell you exactly what I did recently in the sermon. I talked about what the Bible says about abortion. I traced what happens to nations that kill their children. And then I read Barack Obama's own words about abortion and cited his record, including the fact that he was the only Illinois state senator to vote against a bill that would protect babies that survived a late-term abortion. I don't have to tell people not to vote for Obama. They can connect the dots themselves.
All right, Father,
I'm presenting the issues and then letting them make their own decision.
Okay. Is that legitimate? This is what Dr. Jeffress did from the pulpit. Say you were in the pulpit. Would you do that?
Well, I think he's wrong in a few ways, though, because he's not just a pastor in the pulpit. He's a pastor walking down the street, too.
No, but I want to get his sermon quoted the Bible, and then he injected his opinion about nations who go in support of abortion free fall. Okay, and then he read the president's record on abortion. Would you do that?
No, you have to speak about the issues, Bill.
But that is the issue.
He can't malign the president.
He didn't. He just, I don't know whether he maligned him or not, but my people didn't say he did. He just said, this is what the president has done. Is that legit?
A perfect example with Pastor Jeffress. Do you remember when you were supporting Rick Perry? And you were introducing Rick Perry, who you were supporting, and you referred to Mormonism as a cult. So now you're probably going to have to support the very man whose religion you defamed publicly. So if you had not come out supporting someone individually, you wouldn't be in this predicament right now, would you?
Well, first of all, Father Beck, I did not call Mormonism a cult in my introduction of Governor Perry. That occurred afterwards in a press conference. People asked me about the nature of Mormonism.
But you're still
the second thing I would point out.
Let him talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. The second thing I would point out is I did that on a Friday afternoon in Washington, D.C. on my own time. I paid my own expenses. The church spent no money in doing that. When I became a pastor, I didn't surrender my First Amendment rights to personally get involved in politics.
Let's put that aside, because I think the other issue is more important. You have a presidential election, all right? And it was clear in Cardinal Dolan's interview that he doesn't like what Barack Obama's doing. That's very clear.
That's fine.
That's fine, you say?
Yes, because he does like other things that Barack Obama does.
Yeah, but this is overriding that.
Speak to the issue. No, it's not.
Oh, you don't think that's the overriding issue for Cardinal Dolan?
There are many issues in the
now?
Catholic Church, including capital punishment,
capital
punishment, care of the poor, immigration.
That doesn't rise to this.
It sure does.
No, not for Cardinal Dolan.
If you put them all together and it's 5 against 1?
Well, look, you do the math any way you want it, but right now, Cardinal Dolan is worried about the intrusion of the federal government into his church. All right, I'm going to give you the last word there, Pastor. Go ahead.
Look, I just returned from Jerusalem. I took a group of people through the Holocaust Museum, and I said, this is what happens when pastors and Christians don't get involved in politics. The great travesty of the Holocaust was that pastors and Christians, by and large, Protestant and Catholics, remained silent. We must stand up against evil and the killing of children in our country.
All right. Very interesting debate, you guys. I appreciate you both coming in very much.